Good evening and welcome to East St. Paul. Welcome to East St. Paul's planning meeting. The time is 5:30. I'll call the meeting to order. I'll have the resolution read to adopt the agenda as presented.
Be resolved that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Now, mover please, Councillor Imhoff, second by Councillor Duval. Call for the question. All those in favor? It's carried. Item number 4, confirmation of the minutes. The resolution, please.
Be resolved that the minutes of the September 9th, 2025 regular council meeting be approved.
I have a mover, Councillor Horechko, seconded by Councillor Postumus. Any questions or comments or edits? Call for the question. All those in favor? It's carried. We don't have any delegations this evening, but we do have a few public hearings. So we'll have the first public hearing resolution read to open the public hearing 6.1.
Be resolved that council open a public hearing of council for variation order 87/2025 for 2421 McGregor Farm Road.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horechko, seconded by Councillor Postumus. Call for the question. All those in favor? Public hearing is now carried. The public hearing is now open, and I'll pass the floor off to Mr. Plattman.
Thank you, Mayor. As noted, this is variance number 87 for the property located at 2421 McGregor Farm Road. Specifically, the applicant would like to increase the maximum size of a detached structure from 1,200 square feet to 1,904 square feet. The subject property is in the RR2 zone, is just over 2 acres in size, and here's the location map just illustrating where it's located, McGregor Farm Road. There we go. And a bit of a site plan showing the house and where the existing, or sorry, where the proposed building is going to be located. Just a little bit of the zoomed in version showing you that's also back from the right. Oops. Should council wish to approve this, there's 2 standard conditions that the variance is limited to what's been presented, as well as that the applicant has to obtain all requirements for this is what's the municipality required. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Do you have any questions on the plan? Okay, not hearing any. We'll move to, is the applicant in the audience? Okay, are you Jeanette? I know you be Tim Hastings, maybe? Would you like to speak to your application? State your name and address.
Hi there, I'm Tim Hassman.
And then Jeanette Tidy.
So the purpose of the garage is we recently moved to this property and it's we need snow, for our snow blower and all stuff like that when we get a boat in the future and a motor home, so we're looking just for some extra storage, and we think it would look nicer to have that all inside the building instead of having it outside in the yard for everybody to see. We chose the location, it's all bush back there and there's sort of a natural clearing and we're gonna make extra room. So it won't really be visible from really the road, or I think it's gonna add value to the property, to the area. It's sort of in in line with the rest of our neighbors and a lot of their buildings as well, their extra storage buildings. Jeanette has a letter that our direct neighbor wrote that she wanted to share because she can be here tonight.
Okay.
She says, to whom it may concern, I'm a resident of 2425 McGregor Farm Road in East St. Paul, and I support our neighbor, Mr. Hassman at 2421 McGregor Farm Road. In regards to his request for a variance, her application file variance 87/2025. Respectfully, Ms. Yonker.
Thank you. Council, Council, do you have any questions for the applicant? Councillor Postumus?
Yeah, so this is all for personal,
Yes.
this one, the motor home boat.
Yeah, I have a couple classic old vehicles, so
Okay,
keep them indoors. That's what the 2 doors at the end there for
okay,
old car and old truck, yeah.
yeah, that's usually the way they request they have classic vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, Pat and Gary Shepherd. Who would this support? Okay, thank you. Okay, we don't have anybody else signed in for support. We don't have anybody signed in opposition. We have anybody online.
I do have one for information here.
Okay, so if they're just for information, then there be provided information. Do you have somebody signed in for information?
Yes.
Okay,
They
just
are.
read it, oh. Thank you, okay. Sorry. Is he signed in for information online?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so is council prepared to close the public hearing? Can I have the resolution read for closing the public hearing?
Be resolved that council close the public hearing of council for variation order 87 for 24-21 McGregor Farm Road.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Duval, seconded by Counselor Imhoff. Call for the question, all those in favor? Carry, the public hearing is now closed, and I'll have the resolution.
And is the applicant owner of tax roll number 100210 located at 24-21 McGregor Farm Road, has submitted an application for variation order 87-2025. Requesting approval to increase the maximum allowable building area for an accessory structure from 1,200 square feet to 1984 square feet. Therefore, be it resolved that variation order 87-2025 be approved with the following conditions. This variance is limited to the scope and details presented in the application. Any changes, replacements, or additions will require a new variance application and approval. And that the applicant owner shall obtain all necessary permits from the Redwood Planning District and the municipality as applicable prior to the commencement of any work.
Thank you. Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Duval, seconded by Counselor Berechko. Any questions or comments? I mean, I should say questions, I mean comments, Counselor Stevens, discussion. Counselor Foster?
No, do we have to have personal use of?
No.
We don't have that. Okay.
I mean. And I understand your concern, however, if someone did want to operate a business, they would have to go through those processes, whether it's being a variance order or an application for a business license. However, the application before us today is, or tonight, is just to increase the size, so we will stick to the resolution as well. Okay, so have a mover, a seconder, any other comments or discussion? Call for the question, all those in favor? That's carried. Okay, 6.2 is our next public hearing. I'll have the resolution read to open the public hearing.
Be resolved that council open the public hearing of council for variation order 89-2025 4154 Lorne Hill Road.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Berechko, second by Counselor Posthumous. Call for the question, all those in favor? That's carried. The public hearing is now open, and I'll give the floor for choose.
Thank you, ma'am. This is variance number 89, and specifically the applicant is wishing to increase the maximum fence height for a residential side yard from 6.5 feet up to 8 feet. Here's the subject property outlined in black. And then a bit of a site plan showing where the existing fence is to remain. It doesn't run the entire property, it's just a portion of the property immediately north of the house. And here's a snapshot of the existing fence. Should council wish to approve this, there's just the two standard requirements that we're suggesting. One, the variance is limited to what's being presented, and two, that the applicant obtains all the required permits from our office and the municipality. Yeah.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions for the planner? Okay, do we have the applicant in the audience yet?
Yes.
Are you Emil and Christie?
Yeah.
Would you like to speak to your application?
Yes.
Please come up and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Emil Crochel, this is my wife Christine Crochel, and we live at 4154 Lorne Hill Road.
So we are requesting a variance to allow for a higher fence of 8 feet on our yard. which would ensure the safety and privacy of our family while also being mindful of our neighbor's property. We have 3 very active children who regularly play sports, such as hockey and soccer in our yard. A higher fence would help prevent balls and pucks from entering the neighboring yard, where there are vehicles, a storage shed, and various construction materials, including rebar and pallets, that pose a safety risk to our children. Our neighbor frequently works in that area of his yard, and we want to avoid any accidental damage to his property or injury to anyone. Additionally, the higher fence provides a necessary visual barrier to a large, about 12-foot arched storage shelter, which you can see there in the picture, that was installed right along the property line. We have gone to great lengths to ensure that the new fence is well built and respectful of our shared boundary. We used high-quality pressure-treated boards at our own expense and set the fence 1 foot inside our property so that our neighbor would not have to take on any maintenance responsibilities. We believe this ensures the overall appearance and value of both properties while giving everyone more freedom to enjoy their spaces without concern for what's happening next door. We have been intentional in building the fence only in the area where our 2 properties are in closest proximity to one another. It does not run the full length of the yard. We felt that this would offer the most privacy where it's needed while still maintaining openness in other areas. Because our yard slopes downward towards the property line, the fence is built on lower ground, about 3 feet lower than the middle of our yard. As a result, when standing in the middle of our yard, the fence appears significantly shorter and does not provide the intended level of privacy. The height of the fence would compensate for this change in elevation and ensure consistent privacy across our yard, particularly from the 2 kitchen and dining room windows of our neighbor's home. You can see those in the picture as well, which directly face the area where we spend most of our time. We're confident that allowing a higher fence would be a positive solution for both households. It would create a safe and comfortable space for our children to play, ensure greater privacy for everyone, enhance the visual appeal of both properties, and help minimize the potential for future disturbances or tensions between neighbors. Thank you for considering our variance.
Thank you. So just for clarity.
Yeah.
Have you built the fence already to the height of 8 feet?
Yes.
You have? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the elevation, because of the elevation, the difference in grade, then the fence appears to not be 8 feet. Is that what you're indicating? Okay. Okay, thank you. Council, do you have any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. There are some signed in opposition, so you will have the opportunity to come back to speak to their concerns.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We don't have anybody signed in support, other than the applicant. We do have 2 individuals at 4160 Lorne Hill Road signed in opposition, and I'm not gonna be able to pronounce your names. The writing is a little bit, I'm not gonna be able to pronounce your name, so if you know who you are, 4160. Okay, thank you.
My name is Mikhail Tverlitsky.
Thank you.
I'm from, I live 4160 Lorne Hill Road, 15 years, 5 years live Eastern Pole, 50 years of Canada citizen. You have it, my picture number 1, see this. I don't understand speak English, sorry guys. Picture number 1 sees very high fence. After winter is everything ice. Everything ice is north. Stay. My property is allowed to stay water. Picture 2 sees my fence over 8.5 feet. This border middle His border needed bridge, yeah? I think so. This water going this east, go to north. It's needed ditch. There's no ditch. I work in ditch, maybe fence go down. It's very high. See picture 3. Picture 3 is everything stays full my property.
Are you indicating that because of the fence, you're having pooling on your property?
Before,
Are you indicating that because the fence is built, that you're having pooling on your property of water?
no, this is pool is stay water. It's no going there's no ditch. It's needed border, needed ditch. I asked my neighbors, needed ditch. Oh. It's everything water stay before my phone. I work in ditch is border 4 feet. It's every time is fixed is very high wind. Fence every post every time working my neighbor.
Are you saying that you don't feel safe working by the fence because of the height?
Fence after very wind is a little bit
Okay,
stream. Yeah, after we fix go limestone. She is member 5. Who is this cut grass is my side. I last year cut grass. My neighbor attacked me. Don't touch is my property. This year she is. This everything with no every year no grass. It's everything water that stays here. Thank you. Okay, sorry.
okay, just a second. Do you have any questions for the applicant, Councilor Pritchard?
I think so. Law is law. 6.5 is 6.5. Doesn't matter if you're working. I'm a roofer, is firefighter. I'm from Ukraine, from Czech Republic, Canadian law is law. I think so. Thank you.
Just a minute, sir. Sir? Can you just come back to the microphone, because council might have a question for you?
Oh, sorry. I think so. I'm the last.
Yeah,
Maybe help me.
I'll try to help.
Polish, Russian, Italian.
I understand. Does anybody speak?
Yeah.
Louis? Oh, Councilor Pritchard speaks.
Де вам поможемо?
Дякую. Дякую.
Well, there's supposed to be a swale on both, like both properties have to have a swale. Supposed to, they both have to have a swale.
Well,
There would be one side and the other, there's always a.
that's, I mean, this, we can't speak to the swale tonight, we can speak to the height of the fence, right? Because the swale, there's an issue with drainage, that's a bylaw issue that would be dealt with separately, but tonight we can talk to the fence. Okay, so if you have a question for council.
Чи вода стоїть там, то не є проблема фенс.
Але вода стоїть, коли тут замерз лід,
Розумію.
і вона не може пройти.
Але чи фенс є 6 футів чи 8 футів, вода буде стояти.
Але як буде 6, буде сонце прогрівати і буде скорше йти.
Not to sound like language, yeah.
No, I'm saying to whether the fence is 6 feet tall or 8 feet tall. The same problem, the water's gonna still be there, I'm just saying that, if it's 6 feet tall, the sun will warm it up faster than the moon.
Okay.
А хто, от тут є бордер, так? Має бути диш, щоб вона втікала.
Закон не можна говорити.
Але коли я викупив диш, то лід ляже.
Це друга справа. No, he's just talking about the drainage and telling him that we can't discuss that today, that's a separate issue.
Але який є ло, sorry.
Right, but So let him know that drainage is a bylaw concern, however, drainage can be both properties,
Correct. It's
right? It's not just one property, it's like both properties have to maintain their grades to not drain on each other.
Цей вірш, то обидва можете зробити разом.
Ну так, я йому говорю, що треба робити. Він сказав, йому не треба. Але коли ми зробимо піч, то той плід, він просто його вітер положить. Мені так сказав, контрактор сказав мені.
Well, it wouldn't be a ditch, it would be a swale.
Yeah.
Swales are they're a gradual,
То
slope.
не буде дощ, то буде менше,
Mhm.
воду буде брати.
Because
Не
or
знаю.
water doesn't, it's a minimal grade going probably east to west, right?
Але лоє 6 фіт, так?
6,5.
6,5, так. А чому він поставив 8?
Я не знаю.
Ну, ви не знаєте.
Зв'язки.
Я
Correct, and that's why we're here tonight.
Чому ми тут є?
They're asking for a variance.
Yeah.
Окей, дуже дякую. Thank you, guys. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay. We don't have anybody else signed in. We do have someone for information. However, they're listening to the conversation online. Would the applicant like to come up and speak to the opposition?
Yes, please.
As you can see, the tent there, there's always been ice there. The snow will build up, nothing's different, this is a neighbor dispute that he just doesn't want the fence. 6 foot or 8 foot's not gonna change the water that was there. The buildup of all the snow around his shed, and there's another picture of all the tools and construction equipment that constantly will blow over, like, we have 80 acres of farmland behind us, so when this wind's picking up, we would constantly be picking up insulation. Our 2-year-old is picking, like, when she was 2, was picking up pink insulation, we had to take it away from her. So that's why there's the reason with the fence, but the height is that shed, like, it's blocking, it's the snow, and it's always been there, whether it's a 6-foot fence or 8 foot, is not gonna change that. And when we built the house 10 years ago, us and the previous neighbor, which he's had issues with, the East St. Paul came and they surveyed the land and it had to be inspected. So it's because our houses are back, we're not close to the road, we're like 600, our driveways are 600 feet long. But you have to create this ditch that would go forever, like between the property, because you can see the lot, it's not gonna affect it. You'd have to build the earth out. And then where does it end? East St. Paul came and they inspected both lots and said, that's as good as it's gonna get, and it was passed. Both properties, we knew the old homeowners, never had an issue, never needed a fence, it's just with the new neighbor, and
And we just maybe wanted to share too, that the fence, it's aesthetic, it does provide shelter from his structure that he has there, so it does give us a visual barrier. But there have been some uncomfortable situations that have developed over the course of our neighbor there. And so we just feel that when we're in our yard, we feel that our neighbor has been watching us and making us feel uneasy when we're in our space. He stands for extended periods of time staring at us and our children while we try to play and relax. Each of our children has come up to us complaining that when they have been outside, they felt watched by our neighbor, which made them left feeling very unsettled. And so when we move to the back of our property, our neighbor seeks to be in the back of the property. If we go to the front to get some privacy, he's in the front. And this is just an ongoing pattern of behavior that is making us feel monitored in our own private space. So as we stated earlier, the fence is there just between the place that we most spend in our yard and where our neighbor tends to spend all of his time. We didn't want to build a fence along the entirety of the property just to give us that peace of mind and privacy. And then added 1.5 feet, again, is there in this picture. Thank you for having this photo up. It does give us privacy from the windows that are in his home. Because we have felt watched from when they're inside their space. And of course, we can't control what he does in his space. And he's allowed to do however, live his life how he wants to, but we needed that extra height because where we spend our time, it gives us a visual barrier. So we're just asking that you would consider that. And the reason that he is bringing up really doesn't have anything to do with the additional height to our fence. We built the fence 1 foot into our property. And so our property there is a swale there between our 2 properties, but the fence is on our side. The fence doesn't affect anything with the water or the snow or the ice buildup there. We just want to be able to live in our space, keep to ourselves and feel comfortable when we're in our yard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, do you have any further questions? Okay, thank you.
I have one question.
Sorry,
Okay.
yeah, I can't bring you back up. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
so we'll have the resolution to close the public meeting.
Be it resolved that the council close the public hearing of council for variation order 89/2025.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Duval, second by Councillor Imhoff. All for the question, all those in favor? That's carried. The public hearing is now closed and I'll have the resolution read.
Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 68712 located at 4154 Lorne Hill Road has submitted an application for a variation order 89/2025, requesting approval to increase the maximum permitted fence height for a residential side yard from 6.56 square feet to 8 square feet. Therefore, be it resolved that variation order 89/2025 be approved with the following conditions. This variance is limited to the scope and details presented in the application. Any changes, replacements, or additions will require a new variance application and approval. And that the applicant owner shall obtain all necessary permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality as applicable.
Thank you. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Duval, seconded by Councillor Posturas. I'll open the floor up for discussion. Councillor Duval, please.
Yeah, clearly we are here to judge the height of the fence. If there are other problems in the area, whether it's drainage or whether there's some sort of ill will between the 2 neighbors, we are not going to deal with that here. And we can't deal with drainage here because that's an engineering study on grades and everything, and we are not equipped around this table to do that here, and it is not on the agenda, quite frankly. So the question is, are we going to approve the 8-foot fence? Now, in my opinion, these lots are 160 feet wide, which is more than twice as wide as everybody else in the community. And I know these heights were put into bylaws, and often they were put in as a blanket order across all types of bylaw zones. Obviously, if you were in a 60, 70, 80-foot lot in the middle of the village here, you wouldn't want necessarily to see an 8-foot fence. But out in the rural area, it's not so objectionable, so that's my comments.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Hirschko?
I kind of agree with Councillor Duval. I would have rather seen people come before they put the fence up looking for a thing versus asking for forgiveness after putting it up. So I'm kind of caught on this and just on that point. Like you said, we're not here to deal with drainage, so.
Thank you. Well, Councillor Hahn.
So this is similar to already a couple that we've approved in this term for the very similar reasons in terms of privacy and then meeting basically from the center of the property is about a 6.5 foot height differential. So I don't see this as being any different than the other couple, 2, 3 that we've approved already.
Correct, yes, we have approved fences being at an increased height based on the elevations. and privacy concerns, because when you do have those drop in elevations, you put up a 6-foot fence, it ends up maybe being a 4-foot fence, so you don't get that privacy that you're wanting to achieve. So I echo my colleagues' comments, and I support the fence remaining on the property. Yes, sometimes, Councilor Retchko, we do see residents come forward after for forgiveness, and sometimes it's just because they don't know that they can build it to that height, because we don't need to have permits for fences. So, you know, sometimes they do it themselves, and the contractor did say, hey, you're not allowed to have a fence that high. So in this situation, I'm okay approving, because there is a difference of elevation as well in the grade. So I don't know if that helps you in your decision or not, but I thought I'd lend you that. Okay, so if everyone's ready, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried.
Thank you.
Moving down to 6.3, we'll have the resolution. Oh, right, just a moment. Okay, so Councilor Duval wants me to let the audience know that after your public hearing has been heard and answers provided, you can leave our meeting. However, I would prefer if you stay, because it's nice to have a face in the audience. Sometimes it's hard to just talk to empty chairs. So if you're wanting to stay with us, you're welcome to continue on with us. So we are down to 6.3 of the resolution to open the public hearing.
Be it resolved that council open the public hearing of council for variation order 94, 2025 for 27 Clydesdale Place.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Imhoff, seconded by Councillor Pritchard. Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. The public hearing is now open, and I'll give the floor to Mr. Funk.
Thank you, Mayor. As you noted, this is variance number 94 for 27 Clydesdale Place. The applicant is looking to do an addition onto the house to make the garage bigger, and is requesting a side yard variance from 10 feet down to 5 feet. Here's the subject lot on the cul-de-sac there. And here is a site plan showing the addition that would be onto the existing garage. This has been circulated to the municipality. Notably, Public Works has noted that a 5-foot setback may not require adequate space to accommodate proper drainage, and the presence of mature trees along the lot line would further limit the available clearance. With that said, the applicant has also, in your docket, submitted a couple letters of support from the neighbors. So should council wish to approve this, there's just the 2 standard conditions. 1, that the variance is limited to what's being presented, and 2, that the applicant obtain all required permits from planning district as well as the municipality, if required. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions? Councilor Imhoff?
So, in the application report there, we see that the 77-foot width planner there. That is, I'm assuming, taken from somewhere in the middle of the property, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, these are closer to a 50-foot frontage. A straight line frontage, not radius.
Yeah, so the width is taken through the GIS, just determines the width on a cul-de-sac like this. What you do is you measure 50 feet back from the front property line and then extend out. So on a pie-shaped lot, the width gets bigger as we pull back. So makes sense.
Yeah, I just want to confirm the irregularity of it. That's all.
I think it's only like 60 feet at the arc or something.
Thank you.
And so because it's a pie-shaped lot, does it consistently keep the 5 feet, or does it flare at the back a little bit?
It would consistently keep the 5 feet because the house is actually parallel to the southwest property line. So the house is not squared up to the front cul-de-sac. It's kind of, you can see from the air photo, it's a bit parallel to the one, the property line, and not to the other one. If this was on the north side, we'd have a different scenario.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Councilor Costume.
The 5 feet they're requesting, is that to the side of the building or to the soffit?
Side of the building.
Side of the building, so the soffits would be another foot and a half over, so they don't need it to the soffit, it's always to the building, the variance.
Yeah, we take the setbacks to the wall.
Okay.
Okay, do we have the applicant in the audience?
Soren Walk had a family emergency, wasn't able to be here. I'm the homeowner.
Okay, would you like to come and speak to your
Certainly,
application?
thank you.
Just state your name and address for the record.
First off, thanks for all you to take the time to hear what I have to say. My name is Rick Gladys. I'm the homeowner at 27 Clydesdale Place. This idea has been a hope of mine since I moved here 8 years ago. And in those 8 years, I've spent countless hours and resources to make improvements to my property. And this garage addition is going to probably be the largest for me. When I mentioned this to my neighbor, Jeff Chaboter next door, he said he'd be happy to sign any variance I needed, so long as I get rid of the 2 or 3 dying spruce trees that were between our properties. You see, every fall, Jeff and I are raking up pine needles, pine cones, and cleaning pine cones out of our engine compartments that the squirrels use for their winter stash. My neighbor Ralph, who lives on the other side of me, who's also agreed to my garage proposal, even brought his chainsaw over, and between the 2 of us, we removed the 2 eyesore trees. Now Jeff and I both have vehicles parked on that side of the property, so for one thing, having a proper garage in for my truck alleviates the squirrel problem every fall and spring. Another point I'd like to make is the fact that the new garage addition on that side of the property is a lot more visually appealing in our cul-de-sac than dying spruce trees and loose spelter and gravel on the ground. So just from an aesthetic perspective, I think there is that benefit. The other positive aspect of this is that my vehicle won't be parked on the driveway in front of the house and will be under a roof. I drive a 2025 Honda Ridgeline, and leaving it outside 24/7 isn't something I'm really keen on. And while crime in our town is relatively non-existent in the 8 years that I've lived here, I've had 2 break-ins in my other vehicles. So from a crime perspective, having a safe indoor place to park my vehicle beats leaving it exposed in the driveway. So this addition I'm proposing represents just another investment in the improvement of my home, the eye appeal of the cul-de-sac in the neighborhood, and honestly, the security of my property. Soren Pop Contracting was really instrumental in providing all the required architectural information that you and Red River Planning have requested. I've never done this kind of project before, but hopefully we've satisfied all of the requirements. That's all I have to say about the proposal, and with Soren's company's help and your approval, I hope I can bring this addition to its completion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just a second. Council, do you have any questions? Oh, Councilor Duval.
Is this a single car addition or a double car addition?
It'll be about 19 feet, so it'll be a type 2 car.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We don't have anybody else signed in support. We don't have anybody signed in opposition. We don't have anybody signed for information. Nothing online. So we will close the public hearing.
We resolve that council close the public hearing of council for variation order 94/2025.
I have a mover, Councilor Imhoff, seconded by Councilor Hudetchko. Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. And the resolution read, please.
Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 1962, located at 27 Clydesdale Place, has submitted an application for variation order number 94/2025, requesting approval to reduce the required side yard setback for a principal building to permit the construction of an attached garage on the property from 10 feet to 5 feet. Therefore, be it resolved that variation order 95/2025 be approved with the following conditions. This variance is limited to the scope and details presented in this application. Any changes, replacements, or additions will require a new variance application and approval. And that the applicant owner shall obtain all necessary permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality as applicable.
Thank you. Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Imhoff, seconded by Counselor Berechko. I'll open the floor up for discussion. And I think I'm gonna look to the area counselor to open up our discussion.
Yeah, I'm in support of this application, you know what, it improves like the applicant said, it improves the house, it's an add-on. He is just kind of euchred with the shape of the lot and the alignment of the house that forces him to request a 5-foot setback, so I think, I have no problem being in favor of this.
Thank you. Any other counselor want to chime in on that? Counselor Posthumous?
Yeah, and and with the neighbor being in agreement, I see there's quite a bit of space between the two, so. Drainage and all that should be fine, and yeah, if you're getting rid of dead trees in that area, like you said, it's gonna look. A lot cleaner and a lot better, so I'd be
He'll have to have a lot grade site services plan of
Yeah,
sorts
yeah,
to
for
ensure that
drainage.
that drainage is not affected and it's corrected. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so I have a mover, I have a seconder. I'll call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, moving down to 6.4 for resolution to open the public hearing. Oh, did I miss it?
No, that's right. I was just gonna note for council, 6.4 and 6.5 are dealing with the same property, the same project. It's a subdivision and then a variance required for that. If you want, you can have a combined hearing. You can hear everything all at once.
Sure. I think we're
Change the resolutions.
okay. Do you want us to leave it the way it is? Is it easier for you?
Just read both of them at the same time, open them up. And then.
And then we'll just read both resolutions? Okay.
Yeah, sure. Be it resolved that council open a public hearing with council for subdivision S 25-3116 at 257 Glenway Avenue.
So you want me to open the vote? Okay. Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Posthumous, seconded by Counselor Berechko. Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. Public hearing is now open.
And be it resolved that open the public hearing with council for variation order 90/2025.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Posthumous, seconded by Counselor Berechko. Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. The public hearing is open. And I will pass the floor off to Mr. Plum.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I'll run through both these applications quickly for you. So the first one we're dealing with is the subdivision at 257 Glenway Avenue. The subject property is about half an acre in size and it's zoned R117. Here's the subject property. You can see outlined in black with the little house there, which the applicant has noted that they're going to be removing. Here's the subdivision layout showing you the 3 new lots. One of the lots would be 11,300 square feet, and the other 2 lots would both be the same size at about 5,700 square feet and change. This has been circulated to the government departments. There are no concerns that have arisen. There will be easements. Those are pretty standard things. In terms of the lots and the variances, they do not comply with the R117 zone for width or for area. The minimum lot width for the R117 is 80 feet, as well as 7 acres here, but an average of 15,000 square feet per lots. The applicant's proposing lots that are under that size, all 3 of them, as well as 2 of them, which will be under 80 foot in width. So should council wish to approve these, there are 3 recommended conditions related to the subdivision. The first one relates to the applicant submitting confirmation from the municipality that all taxes and capital development levies have been paid, as well as that they've entered into development agreements addressing a number of different issues such as lot grading, sewer, water connections, fencing, drainage, and the like. The second one is the applicant obtain all required variances, which we're dealing with as well tonight. And the third one is that the applicant submits written confirmation from Hydro that they've entered into an easement agreement with Hydro, which is a fairly standard condition. In terms of the variances, it's just the 2 standard conditions that we always have, that it's limited to what's been proposed and that they obtain all required permits if required. I should also note that on the variance, I almost forgot this, they're asking for a front and a side yard setback for the one property because they have indicated conceptual location for a house. So reducing the front setback from 40 feet down to 25 and the side, which would be the west side setback from 10 feet down to 5 feet. Thank you, Mayor. Is there any questions you might have?
Thank you. I asked my questions. So we see that there's lot 1 and lot 2 that are existing on Glenway. Do we have the size of those lots?
We'll bring those up for sure.
Thank you.
Should note that the lots along Glenway are all much smaller than the R117. So.
Correct, yes, for sure. On both sides of one side is the city and one side.
Yeah, so just over 5,000 square feet, and I'll just do a rough calculation on the widths. They're all about the same. I think they're all, let's say 50 feet, 45, 50 feet.
Yeah. Okay. So
Sorry, well, can I just add in, ask
Sure.
quickly, while you're measuring there, what's the setback on those homes? Yeah, those homes there.
Oh, of course. So the immediate neighbor, we can say 27 or so. Oops. And then they look like they're all
About
the same.
they're all probably 25.
They're all,
Yeah.
say 25, give or take.
I make a note that we'll be looking into the sewer and Steve.
Sure, thank you for that, Karen. Okay, so if there's no other questions for the planner, we'll bring up the applicant. Do we have the applicant from the audience? Joel? Okay, please come up and speak to your application. Just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Joel Olbert, and address is 257 Glenway. Thank you, council members, for hearing my application. My wife Larissa, and I purchased 257 Glenway in spring. And we're currently living on Knowles Avenue, which is about a 5-minute walk away from this 257 property. I'll try to give you a bit of background and then I can share a little bit about some more reasoning behind the requests for the subdivision and then variance. So my wife and I, we have 2 sons, a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old. And we're living in an 800 square foot house on Knowles with 1 bathroom. So I've been looking to get a larger place. We had actually put an offer on the neighboring house, the wider lot 1, or identified as lot 1 in plan 15978. And want to try to stay in the area in North Kelowna or East St. Paul. And interestingly enough, we had contacted or tried to reach out to the property owner by sending out a letter in the mail of the previous owner to that way, in the hopes that we could subdivide and purchase half of their lot or a portion of their lot. And for doing that, we had talked to the RM and river planning, amongst some others, including Magic Hydro, to make sure that there was enough utility and other servicing to support another home there. And so we had submitted this letter in the owner's mailbox after getting confirmation that it seemed like there was servicing availability in the hopes that we could purchase the lot. And shortly after that occurred, the house actually went up for sale. And after talking with some of the neighbors, it sounds like, and the realtor, it sounds like the owner of 257 Glenway had passed away in the home, and his case was discovered from a wellness check. And so we were excited about the opportunity to put a bid on the home. And I don't recall what the word is, but it was since the owner had passed, the home was, and she didn't have any family or anyone to sell her, so it was through a different process where bids were taken as they came in. So our bid was accepted fairly quickly. I think it was 4 days after the listing came up, and I think there were about 4 or 5 other offers, some of which were from developers. And so we had spoken with a few people, including Karen Nichols and East St. Paul, a surveyor Les McLaughlin, and an engineer from the city of Winnipeg, Matthew Nickel, and then our realtor Jeremy Hebert, and some river planning contacts as well, and asked for their advice on whether we should be purchasing with the possibility in mind of doing a subdivision. And they all thought that was appropriate and had suggested 50-foot lots minimum, and suggested some alternatives too. And so we made our offer, knowing that there's no certainties, but under the hope that we'd be able to subdivide and then build on part of the property. And after after our offer was accepted, we started working towards making these 2 applications. And the plan and the hope is to build the home on the 100-foot property and keep that for ourselves as a family home. And the reason that we had done 100-foot for that lot instead of another 50 next to it is my wife in particular is very keen on having a side yard for our kids. In this property, there's trees near the front and near the back, and our hope is to keep as many trees as possible. And so we're hoping to use the side of the property as the yard for the kids. The lots 2 and 3, 2 and 3 on the map. They both also have a good amount of trees in the front and back, except for the driveway access, which currently is about in between lot 2 and 3, and so that they're either the driveway will maybe be like some of the other driveways in the street where 2 neighboring properties share driveways, so maybe that'll be the case, or maybe we'll end up splitting it into 2 separate driveways. Either way, the hope is to sell the lots, and there's no intention for us to build properties on those 2 lots. It's just be selling them vacant. As far as the request for the variance, the property is 115 feet deep, and with a 45-foot setback, we thought that wouldn't leave enough space to do and I think there's a 25-foot rear yard setback, and that those measurements wouldn't allow us enough space to build a home unless we were forced to go widthwise. And as far as the variance for the side yard, the request for 5 feet rather than 10 feet is primarily in the hopes that we could have more of a side yard on the other side. So we would be limiting the side yard next to the new lot, and keeping the space next to the existing neighbor in lot 1. And then I guess 2 other reasons for the variance request are just because it is consistent with the existing homes on the street, and to show for the future lot owners that if they're going to be building on the 50-foot lots, then they too will be able to have a variance of a similar side yard to us, which would be about hopefully 5 feet. A few pieces of information that might be helpful are that this lot is the biggest lot on Knowles, or sorry, on Glenway, excuse me, of 200 feet. And there's only two other properties that have a width front yard over 100 feet. One of them happens to be the neighboring lot, which is a really nice home. And that likely wouldn't be torn down anytime soon, so I don't think there'd be any other similar subdivisions like this. And then the other lot that's over 100 feet is a corner lot with a wide house, which also I don't think would have the same kind of request. Otherwise, there's 43 foot wide lot on the street, and then the two neighboring lots. I believe are 45. And so our hope is to have the applications approved, and then we would like to proceed with working towards selling the properties and then building on the larger lots and then raising our family there. Do you have any questions?
Council, do you have any questions for the applicant? No. Thank you very much. You'll have an opportunity to come back up after you hear those in opposition.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so just for the audience and those in opposition, when you come up to speak, you can speak to the variance and to the subdivision, because we're hearing them both at the same time. And I noticed that some are signed in for one and maybe not the other, but you can speak to both. So we'll start with Terry Mathis. Yes. Yes, please come up.
I'm Terry Mathis, I live at 253 Glenway, which is directly west of the proposed property. Subject property. I'm opposed to the variance for the side yard. Looking at the plan, the structure that he plans on a 100-foot lot. That he wants or they want the applicants want a 5-foot side yard, he has plenty of room to move that house over. 5 feet on a 100-foot lot isn't that much difference. On the other ones, it's a unique property, if you've seen it. And it's well treated. And if we have those side yards, and as the planner says, it goes to the eaves. Well, if they've got 2-foot eaves, then you're technically even less. So you're taking more of that property that you have to see, it is unique. There's everything there. There's deer in there. There's all kinds of different birds in there all the time. And I don't want to see that taken away.
You don't want to see the ability for wildlife taken away?
Well, just the environmental part of it. You know, I understand he wants to develop these lots. Okay, so the variance she just gave me, this is only for lot 1. Okay, but yet this, it said lot 1, lot 2, and 3.
So we have a subdivision for the whole parcel, and then we have a variance for lot 1.
Okay. So this one here says lot 2 and 3. Am I wrong here?
Well, they're being changed from
Yeah, so Madam Mayor,
That's
lots 1, 2, and 3 are related to the subdivision of the sizes and the width of the overall lots. But the proposed 25-foot front yard and 5-foot side yard are for, let's say, proposed lot 1, the bigger one, where we can see the gray triangle house to be located.
Okay, yeah, so it's for the subdivision, it's lots 1, 2, and 3, and then the variation order is for lot 1.
Okay. Because on this one it's confusing, it lists all 3.
Because that's the subdivision paper.
No,
In the variance order? I'm only.
In the table from BO 90.25.
Right.
In that variance request table on page 1.
Hang on, I have the subdivision with me. I don't know that I have.
Because originally,
Yeah.
originally there was a letter, an email sent to planning from the applicants. Saying that it only applied to lot one. But on this page, it's got all three lots listed.
Oh, that's because we have, moving from 25 feet frontage and a 5-foot side yard will apply to all the lots?
No, just
Just
lot
to-
one. That's what the applicants indicated in their
Okay.
letter of intent, which is attached to this.
Okay, so it's just attached to the,
Okay, so I was confused on that, sorry about that.
regardless, I think in the future, if the subdivision was to go through, those other lots would want to meet the same setbacks as the street, right? And the
Right.
side here. Yeah.
I'm talking about the side yard, so,
Right,
and if they don't apply to lots 2 and 3. Then, okay, I withdraw my objections.
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
okay.
Okay, so now we have Charles Goodman.
Good evening, I'm Charlie Goodman, I live at 268 Foxgrove. Immediately to the north of this property. The new lot, the bigger one, the 100-foot lot, almost exactly matches my 100-foot lot on Foxgrove, not quite, there's a little bit off. We've been there a long time, we're the second owners of the property. Bartoluzzi's were there for a long time before us. Our property exemplifies traditional semi-rural character of East St. Paul. The building's unique. The lawns are park-like, surrounded by mature and majestic trees. I have a concern about the drainage, and from listening to the previous variation, I know you can't address that directly, but I do have concerns. Each of the 3 houses on Foxgrove to the north of 257 Glenway is built with a high point on each lot, so the houses are at the high point on the lots. Drainage from the driveways and the front lawns is primarily the ditch on Foxgrove. The back lawn of each property drains to the south towards where you see public lane, which is actually an area for hydro. The elevation of the south edge of each property is lower than the Foxgrove ditch. So there's no way for us to drain the back end of our property at Foxgrove. It drains into that area between Glenway and Foxgrove. Water accumulates to the south of each property during the spring melt and following severe rainfall. The building location at 257 Glenway has been undisturbed for many, many decades. There's a swale within the property at the back of the building extending the width of the property. So the existing house on there's a swale behind that, and water accumulates there and sort of disappears into the ground. I don't think there's any flow going east-west along between all the properties. So that should be addressed, whether it's here or some other way. I'm concerned that with 3 new houses in there, with driveways, more hardscaping, there's gonna be more water all of a sudden going somewhere. And I wanna make sure it doesn't come into my yard. At the same time, I don't want my water disturbing them. It's gonna be a nice new development there. Secondly, the density, and I've been up here before talking about density. Narrow lots have been allowed on Glenway, and this is not recent, this has gone back many, many years. This is in direct conflict with the semi-rural character of East St. Paul. The existing single lot is smaller than the current zoning requirement. So even if nothing was done, it's still a small lot compared to what our zoning is. The existing frontage 200 feet is much wider than most other properties. Rather than creating lots, 2 50-foot lots, more fitting would be subdivision to 2 lots, each with 100-foot frontage. There is precedent. subdivision to 50-foot frontage was denied on Fox Road not that long ago. Even though there are existing 50-foot lots on Fox Road, you guys said, no, 50 foot's not proper, let's spread these out to a little bit larger lots. And that subdivision was allowed or approved. The sketch provided by the applicant shows the new house will be positioned to the west side of the 100-foot lot. Given the requested 5-foot side yard and the sketch width of the house, this leaves a large side yard of 50-foot width. A large side yard would provide a nice sunny lawn, but perhaps there's a plan for further subdivision. With such a large east yard, there is no need for a variance to the size of the west side yard. But what I'm saying is that they've positioned that house there, so now you have a nice little 50-foot lot. That they would say they want a lawn, but that could become another lot. I don't want that density back there. This subdivision and variance should only be allowed with the proviso that there are no further subdivision. Or move that house over 10 feet. Finally, we welcome the redevelopment and look forward to welcoming a new young family as neighbors. However, we have these two concerns. And once they build their house, I know they have family over on Fox Grove. We don't have any fences. Go ahead and run through our yard to get to your grandparents. Oh, there we are. Thank you. Oh, questions?
Council, do we have any questions? I don't have any questions, but I will indicate that through a subdivision process, there will be a lot site servicing plan for drainage, and that has to be approved by the RM's engineer.
Yes.
And then there'll be another one based on the roof shed of the houses that will be built. So there are different layers that protect for drainage. So I think that sometimes when there's negative drainage happening in a community, when subdivision happens, it can provide a positive drainage situation.
Yes.
Yeah, so just wanted to clarify that so you understand that we will, the RM and operations does handle the drainage portion of development.
The drainage in that area has been defined that way since the 60s. So it's been a long time, and with all development area, that's a low area, so something should be addressed there. Thank you, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Barb, Mateus? Mathis, sorry. I don't know why I wanted to say it French like that.
That's fine. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Barb Mathis and I live at 253 Glenway. As you've seen some of the pictures, the piece of property is exceptional. Just to clarify, I knew the neighbor or know the neighbor who previously sold, and her name is Jennifer, and she is not deceased. Jennifer had been proposed many times to sell her property and subdivide it, and she vehemently opposed it. Her family had been on that property for decades. Her father previously owned it. She said there was no way that she was ever going to subdivide that property. What happened was that she became incapacitated. She was moved to a personal care home and she was not able to make decisions because she didn't have a family member who was willing to step up and speak on her behalf. So the public trustee took over, and subsequently the public trustee put the property up for sale. And like I said, if Jennifer was around and she had the opportunity to speak to it, there's no way that there would be a subdivision happening. We moved 10 years ago, and the reason we bought our home was because of the beautiful property. It saddens me to think that all of those trees, which most of them will be removed with the other pieces of property put on. In the spring, when the trees are gone, there'll be no place for the owls to nest, which they do. It's a beautiful piece of property, and I'm just so saddened to think that this is actually going to be just demolished. So I do not approve of the variance, and again, if this fellow wants a 100-foot lot, move it over 95 feet. There's no reason in the future why the lots have to be made smaller and smaller. And I agree, if anything has to happen to sell or to have a variance or lots put on this property, I agree, make them each 100 feet so that at least we can keep most of the trees in the neighborhood, because it's just a shame to remove them, because that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be a concrete parking lot. So I'm asking you to think about that and take a look at this property because it will be just an awful situation to have all of these homes moved together. So,
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions? Councilor
I live at
Hirsch?
253, which is that like lot 2 then?
yes, it is.
And that's 50 foot. lot.
It is, yeah.
25.
We've helped look after that property. We've helped prune those trees. We've been a big part of that for 10 years.
Thank you.
No one else?
Carol, sorry, Carol Mitchell?
No, I'm not Carol, I'm one of the neighbors.
Oh, yeah, so are you signed in here?
No, I didn't sign in.
Okay, we'll get you signed in before we can call you.
You can come up here and sign in before you. Okay.
Carol Mitchell was next, and
Oh, okay.
she would like to speak.
Okay, I'll just go in and then
Maybe.
I'm Carol Mitchell.
Yeah, you
And
can
I
come.
don't live,
Can you come to the microphone,
Oh.
please? Thank you.
I'm Carol Mitchell and I don't live on the East St. Paul side. But I've been living on the Winnipeg side of Glenway since 78. And all I had to say was that it would be a real shame if all those trees, that's what I'm concerned with, is all those trees, it's like living the other side of the street of a forest. And I know it would be very upsetting to see all of the trees and everything. Then it's like living in the country, actually. So I can see why you want to live there, but I can see how I'm kind of like not opposed. It's just I'm so concerned about what's going to happen. And I wasn't planning on saying anything, but I thought I'd say something when you were told Jennifer had died, and she has. Yeah. So anyway, that's all I had to say, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Betty Brandt?
My name is Betty Brandt. I live at 265 Glenway. I think my feelings are very similar to what's already been spoken. I do oppose the idea of 3 lots. I would like to see 2 lots go in there, not 3, which is far more in keeping with the stretch that we have between Rothesay and Henderson. That this lot size isn't really consistent with our lot is 65 feet. And to see, I know what's going to come in there. The tall, skinny, non-conforming to the look of the neighborhood that we have now, that's what's going to have to come in there on a lot that size. I also agree with not feeling comfortable with that 5-foot edge on the left when you have 100 feet. What really is 5 feet? Why is it so necessary to have extra 5 feet? So it gives us concern as well that there's going to be a future subdivision there, and all of a sudden our street isn't going to look the same. And if that happens, I can tell you almost everybody that lives on Glenway is not very happy with the condition of our street. And if they were to suddenly become 4 lots, you're now looking at 8 or 10 more vehicles that are going to travel up and down there, and we're going to be driving potholes again, like we have been since we moved in there. And recently the yard was, or the street was redone, but we all know that it's an ongoing issue. So we do not feel comfortable with 3 lots. We would prefer to see 2. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions? Okay, thank you. Leanne Taylor?
Hi, my name is Leanne Taylor and I live at 269 Glenway Avenue. I guess my main concern was the street and the traffic. You're looking at 2 extra driveways. I know the previous tenant didn't drive, so probably 6 to 7 more vehicles. We don't have sidewalks on our street. I'm worried about having more pedestrian traffic on our street. I didn't know the previous tenant of 257, and so I'm hearing for the first time that she did not want the property split. And if I'm hearing that, like, that just breaks my heart, like, I'm getting choked up, sorry. To hear that her final wish and being the last in her line in that property, not to split it, to cut it into 3 is just heartbreaking. Maybe 2 I could be okay with. Also, they brought up the point of the nature. The trees in the area are so mature and it's gorgeous. And I think that knocking all that crap down and putting in 3 huge driveways and these like tall, skinny glass flat roof monstrosities is a horrible plan for this street. I know that a lot of my neighbors have spoken to the people on the Winnipeg side. They are totally against this idea. And I just wanted to make those points. And I feel like somebody's must speak up, because I've talked to like 10 people on Glenway all the way to Emerson School. The school's down there, and nobody likes this plan. So that's all I have to say. Does anyone have any questions? No?
Thank you.
Great, thank you for letting me speak.
We have Rob, and I'm gonna say it's Ricketts.
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 Yeah.
Would you like to speak?
Well, I don't have too much to say, everybody said it already, I'm pretty much on the same board as everybody else, I live at 275 Glenway. And, yeah, there's probably not much more I can say other than, probably on the same board as those guys. So I just.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Council, do you have any questions? No, thank you. And then Irene Curlin?
I wasn't going to speak, but my name is Irene Kurlick and I live at 245 Glenway. And I knew Jennifer. I've lived on the street on both sides, the Winnipeg side and the St. Paul side for 46 years. And Jennifer didn't want the property. And she still is alive. I just get so emotional about it. But I think that the 100-foot lot should not have 5-foot side yards. I'm sorry. The lot is 100 feet wide. There should be plenty of space for a house and even a side driveway without changing the side areas. And I agree with everybody else that there should be just only 2 lots rather than 3 on that property. At least we'll get to keep some of Jennifer's dreams alive. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Do you have any questions? No, okay. Thank you. So those are, I just want to cross-reference my other sheet. I'll just take a second to make sure I've called everybody out, that it's on both sides. Yeah, so we have spoken to everybody in opposition, and then we have someone signed in for information. Trevor, would you like to remain for information, or do you want to change yourself somewhere? Do you want to speak?
Do I speak?
Yes.
Trevor Bienendahl, I live at 278 Foxgrove Avenue. My concerns were kind of addressed right at the very beginning. The main concern, same as Charlie, is the drainage from our yard. Our neighbor has built a garage as well previously, and I think it's creating more drainage issues in our backyard. The water's not draining as much. But I'm not opposed to working with them if they need to do some drainage from our yard as well. So I'm in support of that. Other than that, welcome to the neighborhood. Hopefully your kids can enjoy it, and you don't mind. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, nobody online? Okay, would the applicant like to come up and speak to the opposition?
Yeah, I have a few other comments that might help their decision. And first of all, sorry, I did not know that Jennifer, still had not our realtor, but the realtor who shows the property, I mentioned she passed, so sorry about that.
You were very long.
Yeah, glad to hear that she's alive. I have a few other comments that might be helpful. The 50-foot The 250-foot lots that are resold, I think that they're within reasonable on Glenway. And then the main reason that we want to leave space on a 100-foot yard is for to have a yard for kids to play in. So if there's a condition of no further subdivision, that we have no problem with that. Our intention is to have a lifelong family home there with the yard and no plants and no wish to subdivide further than equal. And the reason that we'd only requested a variance for the lot that we're hoping to build on is because the Red River Planning had mentioned that there's a timeline for how long the variance can last until a be renewed. And since we don't, never know what's going to happen about who might buy the other lots or when we might be able to service and sell them, we didn't want to apply for the variances for those lots. That's why we just did for the larger lot. And then the last comment that I have is that actually I had, as one of the speakers had alluded to, I grew up on Fox Road. Maybe about 4 or 5 houses down. My parents still live there, and agree that a 50-foot lot would be abnormal on Fox Grove, but the nature of Glenway it is a little bit more like the kind of the Knowles Glenway style community. And then the last comment that I have is that I agree that a large draw to the property is the trees. There's a lot of oak trees, and they're not. It's a good number on the back and the front, and we and some on both sides. And our hope would be to keep as much as possible. And I'd imagine that any purchasers would have a similar draw to the property and that they would value the property over other city lots or outside the city lots because it has some mature trees on the yard, and my hope would be that they'd want to keep them as well, since we'd be living there and hoping to enjoy the community. Are there any additional questions?
I don't have anything. No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll close the public hearing.
Be it resolved that council close the public hearing for subdivision S25-3116.
Now, a mover, please. Councilor Posthumus, second by Councilor Leschko. Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. And now the resolution.
Be it resolved that council close the public hearing for variation order 90/2021.
May I have a mover, please? Councilor Posthumus, seconded by Councilor Imhoff. I'll now open the floor on any discussion. And I'll start with the area councilor.
This is to close the public hearing.
Oh, was that? Oh, right, I'm sorry, we're doing 2. Okay, so this is to close the second public hearing. So I have a mover, I have a seconder. Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. So how are we gonna handle these? Because we're gonna talk to both of them. Are we gonna put them both on the table? And then we'll just vote to once.
Would you have to vote on
Do you
acceptable?
What different?
There would be, so typically, Madam Mayor, our other municipalities who deal with these will deal with the subdivision first, and then with the variance. There has to be 2 separate resolutions because they're 2 different applications.
Okay, thank you. So then we'll have the resolution read for the subdivision.
Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 34300 located at 257 Glenway Avenue has submitted an application S25-3116 requesting approval to subdivide the property into 2 additional lots within the R117 zone as follows. Proposed lot number 1.26 acres being 100 feet wide. Proposed lot 2.13 acres, 50-foot wide lot. Proposed lot 3, the same at 0.13 acres and 50 feet wide. Therefore, be it resolved that subdivision S25-3116 be approved with the following conditions: that the applicant owner shall submit confirmation in writing from CAO of the municipality that the taxes on the land and to be subdivided for the current year plus any arrears have been paid or arrangements satisfactory to council have been made. Payment of any applicable development levies have been paid. Development agreement with the municipality has been entered into to address items including, but not necessarily limited to, the use of land and any existing or proposed buildings, lot grading, sewer and water, waste removal, drainage, fencing and landscaping, and any other standard the municipality deems necessary. And that the applicant owner shall obtain any required lot density and setback for the proposed dwelling variances. And lastly, that the applicant owner shall submit written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro that an easement agreement has been entered into with Manitoba Hydro with respect to existing and their future facilities associated with the subdivision, and a plan of easement as required by the Real Property Act has been provided.
Thank you. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Postumus, seconded by Councillor Imhoff. I'll open the floor up for discussion, and I'll go to Councillor Postumus to open up the discussion.
So we're dealing with the subdivision first.
The subdivision.
Okay. I would prefer 2 lots at 100 feet. And if you went to 3, you know, why couldn't have gone 60, 60 and 80? But that said, from our planning, read the planning saying that lots 1 and 2 beside them are 50 feet.
45.
They're 45 feet. Okay, so that's kind of hard to, the neighboring lots are that size. Basically.
Okay. Any other discussion? Councillor Imhoff?
Yeah, as Councilor Boston has noted, the in this drawing here, proposed lot 2 and proposed lot 3 are the exact same size, if not slightly bigger than those lots to the left of them there, the other 1 and 2, so I don't have an issue with this subdivision and those measurements.
Thank you. Councillor Duval?
Did you, Councillor Postumus, say the lot size was 45 feet for it?
No, he's proposing 50 and apparently. Lots 1 and 2 beside are 45.
Oh, I understand, thank you, yeah. No, I agree with Councillor Imhoff. The neighborhood is built on 50-foot lots. Yes, I can fully understand why people would want to preserve the atmosphere of that property with the trees and all. But we up here have to make decisions based on a lot of factors, not just that factor. And it's unfortunate the previous owner passed away, but time moves on.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said?
No, I said she's alive.
She's incapacitated. Okay. Again, these are factors that are emotional, and while we have to give them some consideration, we have to consideration the other side of it. The fairness to the property owner now. Would it be fair to tell him that he has to put in 100-foot lots? We don't have 100-foot lots in St. Paul. We have 60-foot lots, we have the 70s and 80s, but not 100 feet. It is a tough decision, but we have to consider all factors. We have to be fair to the landowner as well as to the neighbors. I understand that. It's something that we have to face here. And because the neighborhood, as pointed out by Councilor Imhoff again, because the neighborhood is built on 50-foot lots. And speaking of the side yard, which is another question later on, but I don't know what the side yards are now with the existing homes along that street. I think that's the end of my comments.
Thank you. Councillor Gretschko, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I agree with Councilor Imhoff. You said there's other 50-foot or 45-foot lots down the street on the next week. And this future development. Keep as many of the trees as possible, that's fantastic, but that becomes an ownership decision. See no reason not to or pieces.
Correct. I mean, I can appreciate trees. Unfortunately, that's an owner decision. So even if someone purchased their lot, they could cut all the trees down if they wanted to, right? So when we're deciding on land development, trees are not always the best argument to provide. Because as a landowner, you have every right to cut down your trees or plant trees or not have trees. And obviously this landowner has grown up in the community and he respects the community. And I think he indicated that he'd like to keep as many trees as possible. And that always depends on construction too, because when you have machinery running around it, those oak trees tend to not always survive. But you can replant new trees and revive the community as well. In regards to subdivision and when we're considering approval, you are looking at the surrounding communities. So you're deciding on what fits in that community. And if you drive down Glenway, as you all do, and we do when we look at what we're up against, we see that the majority of those lots on Glenway shared with the city of Winnipeg, which is, you know, a bit of a situation in itself, that you're sharing a street with the city and the other side is East St. Paul. They all are consistently within the under 100 feet, right? This was an anomaly, left lot, and I respect that this lady tried to keep it as long as she could, and she really appreciated and loved her lot. However, new ownership comes in and I'm sure they'll find a love for that lot as well. So when we're looking at subdivisions, we're looking at what is in the direct neighboring community. And what we are seeing is that it's consistent that you're seeing lots under 60 foot. And so the 50 foot does match. And where it comes to drainage and engineering, all that comes into play and it will be handled properly and it will be developed properly. On a 60 foot or a 50 foot lot, you can build a nice home. These are not 25 foot lots where you see a taller home that was referenced earlier. You can put up a nice home, as all of you live on nice homes in that community, right? So for the reason that it is complementing the community and it is completing a row of houses that are same, I do support the subdivision tonight.
No, I was just gonna add about the drainage that these homes are gonna be built there, the drainage is gonna be addressed. So I think it will alleviate a lot of the issues that we have because the surveyors will come up and show you know what needs to be done.
And also these lots have to sell and someone has to build, so they could stay like this for a while. We don't know what the future holds, but the subdivision does fit within the community. Council, are you ready to make your decision? Are you done with your discussion? Okay, so this is just for the subdivision, to be clear. I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, it's carried. And now we will have the resolution read for the variance.
Whereas the owner of tax roll number 34300 located at 257 Glenway Avenue has applied for variation order number 90/2025, requesting approval to reduce the lot area and lot width for the proposed lots 1, 2, and 3, and reduce the required front and side yard setbacks for the proposed dwelling on a property zoned R117. And whereas the proposed changes are as follows. Lot 1.26 acres with a proposed width of 100 feet. Lot 2 and 3 proposed acreage of 0.13 and widths of 50 feet. The front yard setback reduced from 50 feet to 25 feet will apply to lot 1 only, and the side yard setback reduced from 10 feet to 5 feet will apply to lot 1 only. Therefore, be it resolved that variation order 90/2025 be approved with the following conditions. This variance is limited to the scope and details presented in this application. Any changes, replacements, or additions shall require new variance application and approval. And that the applicant owner shall obtain all necessary permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality as applicable.
Thank you. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Posthumous, seconded by Councillor Frenchco. I'll open the floor up for discussion and I will go to the area councillor.
Well, I don't have a problem with the 20-foot front. I just have a problem with the side yard, with 100-foot
You have to
wide.
speak to council. You're having a discussion with us.
Oh, with the 100-foot wide.
Just so I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have a problem with the 25-foot front. I do with the side of the 5 feet. The house isn't built yet, it's 100 feet wide. I don't see any reason why it couldn't be a 10-foot or 8-foot side yard.
But in the area, we have existing 5-foot side yards.
On smaller lots, it's a 100-foot lot. I don't see a problem with having it, being a wider side yard. On the smaller lots, yeah, maybe, that, you know, that does happen with houses and garages, but this house isn't built yet. So you know, 100 feet wide, it still gives you a lot of room on the side for the lawn and the kids to play. And that's not just, that's also not to the eaves, so it could end up 3 feet. Or 3.5 feet.
Okay, 3 feet, but let's consider that the 50-foot lots will have a 5-foot side yard.
We don't know that yet, the houses aren't built. They'd have to come for variances.
Right, but if you think about a 50-foot wide lot, you wouldn't want to see 20 feet of that being eaten out by a side yard, because then your house could only be 30 feet.
No, well, yeah, 10 on each side, but they could come for 7 or an 8. This one's 100 feet wide. He said he's not gonna do anything with the other side. You need swales in between for drainage, and that's getting pretty narrow.
Well, Countryside Crossing is 5-foot side yards, and this council and previous councils have approved 4-foot side yards. So when it comes to the side yard, I see no reason that it can't be 5 foot.
I see a 100-foot lot and there's lots of room.
But room is not an argument, right? Like that's preference to an individual. What is the argument that says that it can't be a 5-foot side yard?
Well, when it's to the house, to the side of the house, not to the eaves. The eaves make a difference.
And we just approved that with the garage being added in an existing community to a 5-foot side yard from a 10-foot.
Doesn't matter. I'm just looking at this one. I'm dealing with this one.
Okay, anybody else wanna have a comment?
Sure.
Okay.
I also see no reason why it can't be a campus sign. I mean, 100-foot lot, 5 feet over, kids will still have a lot of room to play. And, you know, it's really long. And I know we've approved 5 side yards, but that's, each time something comes to us, it's, I look at it as that, I can't use that argument. We all have our opinions. What we think is right. And that's the way it goes.
So I look at it as if it's a 5-foot side yard matching community. On top of that, I see future planning, because maybe into the future, there could be another lot there. Why would you have an individual go against what's adjacent as a preference? That's what I'm not understanding. You're not gonna find a 10-foot.
So there's no reason why it can't be a 10-foot side yard.
I'm sure there's no reason why it can't be, but the reason is that in this community, 10-foot side yards don't exist.
Well, they do. They do exist in our community.
In our community,
Yeah.
based on different
They're
areas.
not on a 50-foot. This is 100. So.
They do it most.
We're all allowed our opinion.
Most of our said.
Hmm.
We don't
Okay.
necessarily agree with you.
Sure. Yeah, I can't say that, we're making a decision based on what is in the community. And that's how we should do it. Councillor Duval?
No, I agree with the mayor. There's many 5-foot side yards in this area, quite sure of that. And it's part of the design of the neighborhood of the street. So I can't see a reason why someone has to be forced into a larger side yard, whatever size the lot is. If that's what he wants, then why can't he have it? No, that's my position is I have no problem with 5-foot side yard in that neighborhood.
Councillor Imhoff?
But you are right, we have approved 5-foot side yards. Tonight's especially was a good example of why we did, was because of the irregular shaped lot and the positioning of an existing house. In this case, as a greenfield build, to me, I don't see a good reason to allow the 5-foot yard. I think I understand, maybe there's a possibility down the road, the owner says that they're not going to subdivide and build on that. On a 100-foot wide lot, I see no reason to not have a 10-foot side yard.
I'm just not understanding why the 5 feet in the side yard is affecting community at this point, and if everybody else has a 5-foot side yard, why does this individual have to be treated differently?
Which was on it's also. I don't believe the whole community has. Yeah.
I don't believe the whole community is 5-foot side yards, maybe level.
I have been to side.
Right, but we're talking about site specific, we're talking about Glenway right now.
Well, yeah, but the 50-foot lots may have 5-foot side yard, but 100-foot lots. Sure, no. There's.
How many 100-foot lots do we have on Glenway?
Is it like 15978? Look next door.
2 lots over 100,
2 lots over 100.
excluding this one.
But if you start at the corner, there's quite a few. The first house, second house, the third house, all from from Henderson. They're all 100 feet lot. Large lots, they're great big lots. We only, there's 4 houses and they're fairly new because they were only built in the 90s. And they're all 50-foot because that was part of Jennifer's and her father's property. And they sold 50-foot lots to make 4 houses.
Basically between that.
So I actually, we can't have this discussion with you right now. I'm sorry, it's not the proper process, so we can talk to each other and to staff at this point, right?
It looks like the side yards vary all over the place. Some are even wider than 10.
Some don't even look like their father. I just don't see that there's hardship to the municipality or community with a 5-foot side yard.
331, you just there.
100.6.
So there's a few lots that are about 50 feet, obviously. I don't have.
What's the side yard?
Of course, I don't have the information on the south side of Glenway, because that's the city of Winnipeg, we just don't have those records. You just have to use your, I guess, your judgment in having to look at those lots. In terms of side yards, that are existing throughout here, we don't actually have the permit records, because it stems from before St. Paul joined the planning district, and even some of these houses, before St. Paul was issuing for some of these homes, going back to the 50s and 60s, that would have been through the city of Winnipeg. No, the black lines that you see, those are the lot lines, those are GIS accurate, and I can use a measuring tool and figure out accuracy. In terms of measuring from what we might think is the edge of the house to the property line, that's not accurate, because some of these photos, air photos, are not satellite images. they're actually flown from an airplane, so they're taken at an oblique angle. So what we could measure and what looks like a side yard could be off by a number of different feet, depending on what angle the shot was taken at. It's not as like a Google Earth where it's directly taken down, so yeah.
So, however, what I'm seeing is that majority of people have built the capacity of their lots. Cause on a lot that is 60 feet and under, you wouldn't want to have 10-foot side yards, you'd hardly have a front footage of your home. And a lot of these, even the larger lots have garages right on the property line. You're seeing. I would be challenged to say that, I'm gonna say that probably 90% of these are 5-foot side yards. So I just don't see the hardship to the community if this becomes a 5-foot side yard.
I don't see the hardship if it's a 10-foot side. So it's a green, no, we're not gonna agree. I think we just gotta leave and move on. I mean, the house isn't built, not like the fence, it's not up, so. And it's not a big deal.
Having seen these other ones to the west here that are in that 100-foot range, and that side yard, or I don't know what the measurement would be, but they are certainly not 10 feet.
Mm.
And I would have a very hard time telling someone that they not have something that's on their street.
Exactly, thank you.
There's lots of, but there's lots of large
Lots too, like 261, 257, 235, 231.
And they have garages that are on their property lines.
Oh, no, these houses are in the middle. 257's in the center, 261's in the
I
center.
think 257 is the property
Yeah.
that we're speaking about tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
231,
Well,
they got like a 20-foot side.
okay, well,
235 is a large side there. Yeah, but there are lots of small ones too.
so I have a mover, one seconder. I'm gonna call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay, so now we are gonna take 5-minute recess and we'll be back. Council will now resume the planning meeting. We have item number 7, bylaws. We don't have any bylaws this evening. Item number 8, under policies, we don't have any policies this evening. Item number 9, general business. We have 9.1.1 for resolution.
Whereas the owners of 209 and 215 Fox Grove Avenue submitted subdivision application S23-3000 in 2023 for a lot boundary adjustment, which was considered by council and defeated at the July 18, 2023 council meeting. And whereas the owners have requested a refund of their subdivision application fee in the amount of $2,010. Therefore, be it resolved that council authorize a refund of $2,010 to the owners of 209 and 215 Fox Grove Avenue for subdivision application S23-3000.
May I have a mover, please? Councilor Rechko, seconded by Councilor Postumus. I'll open the floor up for a discussion. I'll start as I had brought these. The applicant called me to discuss their future subdivision, and just to remind everybody, they had come forward not that long ago when we still had a moratorium on subdivisions. And because they were very much wanting to do something with the back of their property for future planning, they said, well, we'll subdivide it. They came forward to subdivide it to 3 lots, which didn't make sense because in that direct community, which is Countryside Crossing, you would then have a lot that wouldn't complete the subdivision, the new subdivision. So it would hinder the completion of that subdivision. So council that night declined their subdivision. What they really wanted was to bring forward a subdivision that would make sense, create lots, and complete the community behind them. And so because now we have moved to have the moratorium change where you can come forward for a subdivision and have a caveat on your title, I feel that in some regard, they were misled. And so that's why I'm requesting and bringing forward, I ask for the resolution to be put on the agenda for their initial fee of $2,010 to be refunded, so they could provide a subdivision for consideration that they would actually want to do. And for that reason, their subdivision that they'll bring forward will be more dollars. However, I'd like to give back the $2,010 towards the subdivision that they would like to bring forward for consideration. Sorry, it's a lot to understand, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to remember back, and I should have looked this up, it was a couple of years ago. They had this property, 2 lots, so 1 lot on the front and on Fox Road.
No.
And didn't they want to split it into an L shape?
Yeah, so they have 2 houses on Fox Road.
Yeah,
And they back Southlands, Countryside Crossing.
yes, that'll be.
And they were gonna do an L shape, which was gonna prevent that subdivision being completed, and so we denied that.
Yes, we denied that. That's
Now-
what they wanted.
Well-
But now they're saying they want the 2 lots on Saddle Ridge.
It's not what they originally wanted.
Okay.
What they originally wanted was to create buildable lots off of Saddle Ridge. But because they wanted to do something as they're retiring and do something for family planning, they decided to do that L-shaped subdivision that didn't make sense for Saddle Ridge, and we denied the application.
Right, that I remember quickly.
Yes. But it wasn't originally what they wanted to do, and they only brought that forward because we had that moratorium on.
Okay.
So that's why I'm requesting that they could get the $2,010 back and then bring forward for consideration the subdivision that they really wanted to bring forward.
Which is 2 lots on Saddle Ridge.
I believe it's 2 or 3. I don't know what it'll amount to.
It was 2, I remember.
I think now it might be 3.
Okay.
Okay. So Councillor Questions?
I agree with the mayor on this, yeah, and I thought it was 2 bigger lots or something, and we said. That it, at that time, and it wasn't. I'm not sure exactly why we turned it down, but it made sense to come back with the 3 now, and. They're gonna be paying again, so why would they have to double pay? They've already paid and we turned it down, but we should, I'm for the refund, and then they wanna come back, and they're coming with 3 lots now.
Councillor Dugas?
Yeah, and just to be clear, because they asked for that L shape is because of the moratorium. And now we found a way to get around that just recently. So they can actually subdivide that regardless of the moratorium still in effect.
So we're getting money back and then anything else.
And it'll be more money.
It's actually.
Yeah.
Because in this situation, they are paying for new lots. So, there's fees associated with all the new lots, right? So it's a lot more expensive.
Okay, so if there's no other discussion, then I'm gonna call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, moving under general, we have 9.2.1 for resolution.
Be it resolved that council approve the lease agreement between the Army Youth and Hall and the River East Transcona School Division for the use of parking space behind the East St. Paul Firewall for a lease term commencing September 1st, 2025 and ending August 31st, 2030. And be it further resolved that the CAO be authorized to execute the lease agreement on behalf of the municipality.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Hedstrom, seconded by Councillor Imhoff. And I'll open the floor up for discussion.
Don't think it's, they're still giving me some money out of enough for parking those buses. And, I have a formal agreement trying to get some of the, money back in our office. And you have to do that.
Okay, any other comments? Counselor Hall?
I just wanted to confirm that as, for the CAO, I'm guessing here, there's up to 12 spaces there. And are they paying for those 12 spaces all the time, or just when a bus is parked there? Okay. It was kind of.
Yeah. It was kind of.
It was kind of, yeah, it wasn't really, it's kind of muddy in that lease agreement to me, and I just want to make sure, because if we have to, we can't use that space for anything else, if we commit to use them and have those buses, so. Okay.
Okay, so call for the question, all those in favor? Yeah, carried. Then 9.2.2 for resolution.
Whereas the increased traffic on Halloween night raises significant safety concerns for children and pedestrians. And whereas the council aims to address these concerns by limiting vehicle traffic within Pritchard Farm properties on Halloween evening. Therefore, be it resolved that the three main entrances to and from Pritchard Farm properties be temporarily closed from 6 to 8 p.m. on October 31st to ensure the safety of all residents and visitors.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councilor Barretto, seconded by Councilor Imhoff. I'll open the floor up for discussion. No, just nothing. We've been doing it, this will be year 7.
It's 2019.
2019, so year 6. Yeah, year 6. So, and once again, I'll just say, anyone who wants to volunteer, participate, it's 2 hours. And I always have a fun night talking to residents and kids while I'm managing the entrances. So, without any other discussion, I'll call for the question, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And then moving down to 9.3.3 for resolution.
Whereas the Manitoba government has initiated the Manitoba Growth, Renewal and Opportunities for Municipalities, also known as the Manitoba Grow Program, to provide financial support for critical municipal infrastructure projects. And whereas the Marconi Trail Renewal Project will extend the life of essential active transportation infrastructure, promote community health and well-being, and maintain an important link between the municipality and the city of Winnipeg. And whereas council deems it in the public interest to complete the renewal of the Marconi Trail from Glenway Avenue to Mulder Road within one construction season. And whereas the municipality intends to seek 50% of eligible project costs through the Manitoba Grow Program, now therefore be it resolved that council hereby endorses the funding application for the renewal of the Marconi Trail from Glenway Avenue to Mulder Road under the 2025 Manitoba Grow Program.
Can I have a mover, please? Councilor Barretto, seconded by Councilor Duval. I'll open the floor up for questions or comments. Not hearing any, I'm going to call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, moving to 9.3 of the utilities, we have 9.3.1 for resolution.
Be resolved that the 2025 annual sanitary sewer flushing and cleaning program be awarded to Unijet Industrial Pipe Cleaning with a budget upset amount of $85,000. And hourly rates as follows: flusher unit, vacuum truck, water hauler, and associated manpower, $425 per hour, and CCTV truck on an as-needed basis, $330 per hour.
Can I have a mover, please? Councilor Imhoff, seconded by Councilor Barretto. Open the floor for questions or comments. Hearing none, I'll call for the as annual. Call for the question, all those in favor? That's carried. And now 9.3.2.
Be it resolved that council authorize Stantec to proceed with the third and fourth SBR expansion study for the RM's wastewater treatment plant at a total fee of $49,841 plus applicable taxes.
I have a mover, please. Councillor Imhoff, seconded by Councillor Duval. I'll leave the floor up for questions or comments.
Sure. So we, Stantec did the study and for our wastewater treatment, and they put forward a recommendation for a greenfield build. However, late in the game, a new technology sort of reared its head, and with the numbers and possibilities that they were talking about, the original SBR design wasn't going to cut it for what we needed for our community in the future. However, with this new technology in that footprint that they had identified for the third and fourth SBR design on the existing plant, there is a distinct possibility that we would have more than enough VRUs to move ahead into the future, well into our study period. Combine that with the joint infrastructure agreement we have with St. Clements, there's a possibility here that our numbers are going to meet or exceed what our demand might be. I think as part of our due diligence, just getting a costing and an estimate as to whether these things are actually possible and how this could play out. I think we need to make sure that we have done the due diligence and explored all the options here before we move ahead with the final solution for our plant. I realize that this sets us back in time just a little bit, but I wholeheartedly believe that this would be money well spent to make sure that we've looked at every possibility. It does not come without some issues and problems in terms of if that's the solution we want to move ahead with, but that's going to be identified as well. I'm listening. Right. Yeah, no, I didn't say it.
Just the overall look at this project, it's a big deal. It's a lot of money we're talking about, and when we first started out, with the regional concept and talking to the neighboring municipalities and what their involvement might be, things have changed a little bit, more than a little bit. This partnership with St. Clements is one, and I think that ERU number is something like anywhere between 1,200 and 1,600. It depends on which reports you look at. So that's considerably reduces the demand on our new plant. And just how this all plays out as we look forward down the 20, 30, 40 years, we have to consider everything here and make the right decision. And there's some other issues too that come up that we won't talk about today, with the possible modification of where this is going. But we have to take the time. If we need another study for $49,000 to get some comfort, and we're looking at all the bases, then I think we have to do it.
Okay, so I'll call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. That ends our resolutions this evening. We have some correspondence and information on a lot. And I didn't have a resolution to adjourn.
You resolve that the meeting be adjourned to time being 7:43 p.m.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Imhoff, second by. We didn't. Councillor Imhoff, seconded by Councillor Duval. Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. Our meeting is now over. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.